Thank you very much for joining us here for the Ravori Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media. Now you can hear me. Now you can hear me, I'm sure. Thank you very much again for joining us for the Ravori Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. Thank you. Thank all of you. Very exciting time going on in the sports world. So we got March Madness going. We're going to talk a little Terps. Number 11 ranked. Going to be a top 4 seed in the tournament. So that's going to be awesome. Big Ten tournament this week. NFL, lots of NFL free agency. Of course, we're going to get to that. Major League Baseball as well. Go over our top 10 list. Orioles marching towards spring, marching towards the regular season, more like limping in with a lot of injuries. So we're going to go over all that. MLB preseason predictions video is on March 23rd. So definitely check that out. That's going to be before the season starts. So definitely we're going to talk about it. A lot has changed. Maybe some of my predictions have changed considering all the injuries that are going on in Baltimore, New York, etc. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. So definitely if you need an affidavit done, if you need help with real estate, if you need field inspection, wedding efficient, all that stuff, we do it here at Ravori Sport Genesis Notary Services in the Shenandoah Valley area. Most of that, what I'm going to be doing is in the Shenandoah Valley area. For that, you can go to RavoriSports.com, get Ravens jerseys. Last night on the open mic, they asked me, of course, we're going to have DeAndre Hopkins jerseys on the website. So definitely check it out. If we don't have it, RavoriSports@gmail.com. Absolutely check that out. Also to as well, Harris Legal Shield definitely has helped my business. Legal Shield, you guys are missing out if you have a legal issue and you need anything as far as that goes. Harris Legal Shield is an excellent service for people, that anybody who needs legal help. I highly recommend Legal Shield. You can get it from us here too. We can sign you up for Legal Shield, get a will done. It's great stuff to go ahead and get with Harris Legal Shield. All right. NFL free agency recap 2025. So a lot has happened. The new league year starts. The legal tampering is on. It's been going on since Monday, and here we are on Wednesday night. It started to settle down a little bit, so we can go ahead and recap exactly what's happened with the free agents. I can't get all the free agents, obviously, but we're going to do some key ones, and we're going to do all the ones obviously relevant to the Baltimore Ravens as well. So, up first, what we did. Ronnie Stanley, 3 years, $60 million. He signed lots of void years in his contract to go ahead and help with the cap. So I'm a little surprised he stayed. I'm surprised Ronnie Stanley stayed. I pretty much thought that they were going to let Rosengarten take over left tackle. They didn't do that. They got a contract they were comfortable with. They got a player they were comfortable with. Ronnie Stanley played very well last year. Under the gun, under a lot of pressure, had to play well, played well. Good for Ronnie Stanley. 3 years, $60 million. Project Pat is back. 1 year. I don't know all the terms. I believe it's $5 million, but that couldn't be wrong, but that could be right. But good for Project Pat coming back. He now may get his last season as a Raven, may get his chance to retire as a Raven as well. I don't see anything wrong with having him back as well. Some people complain about having a full. It's great. He's almost trying to me kind of transition away from just a fullback to almost an offensive lineman in some ways. Like I saw a lot of that, kind of like an extra body on the line, etc. So good having Project Pack. The big news: DeAndre Hopkins, as of right now, 1 year, $6 million. So he is your new receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. This is classic Ravens type move. I thought about this a couple years ago when Lamar was holding out. What did he want? He wanted to work with Odell Beckham. He wanted to work with DeAndre Hopkins. So this is exactly what Lamar wants. He wants a guy just like this who was one of the best receivers in the league a few years ago. Not the same guy, admittedly, but you're not asking him to do all that. You're not asking him to be 1,500, 1,200 yards. And also, to the Ravens, like free agents, over 30. Some people lament that, but that's what they like to do. And a guy they're familiar with. They have product knowledge here. They know exactly what they're getting. Lamar's a big fan of him. He's torched the Ravens before. The Ravens struggled with him. So they know exactly what they are getting with DeAndre. Good move getting a third receiver. DeAndre Hopkins. Arthur Millette was released by the Ravens. I think it could be a June 1st designation. That is going to go ahead and happen. Also, too, I don't think I got a graphic up, but Michael Pierce is retiring after 9 seasons. So that is going to leave a hole a little bit. Shout out to Michael Pierce in his career. This is a guy battled some injury issues, had a bit of a reclamation, and I really thought that Travis Jones was going to more easily overtake him. That didn't happen. Michael Pierce is really good the last few years. So thanks to Michael Pierce. Congratulations on his retirement. Great career for him. Hopefully we'll see him in the Ravens organization still as well. And this hasn't happened yet in typical Raven fashion. They're waiting forever. Marcus Williams to be released. This has been I've been trying to look for it. They haven't announced it yet. I'm thinking it could be. I'm going to look for it even one more time here while we're talking. But it could be. So it does look like it is official here. Marcus Williams released by the Ravens. So there you go. So Marcus has been released. I didn't see it earlier. But Marcus is no longer going to be the Ravens. I don't know what took so long. I mean, this has been obvious for months that this is what they were going to go ahead and do. Ravens, 2 contracts. The Ravens lost several guys. Josh Jones goes out and goes elsewhere in this game. Malik Hamilton actually signed with Pittsburgh. So he's going to team up with Patrick Queen again for the Squealers going forward. Also to, I said Josh Jones, Malik Harrison. Chris Board actually also goes and signs with the Giants. So that is it. The biggest contracts was, no surprise, Pat McCary, 3 years, $37.5 million for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's what you pay a starter. He's a starter. Not a great starter, but I think on Jacksonville, I think this is a good chance for him to get money. I mean, that's a lot of money for Pat McCary. So good for him getting it. Brandon Stevens, 3 years, $36 million. Some are making fun of it, but still kind of the same. Not maybe what the Ravens were looking for necessarily in the long term. But again, these are not great teams. Need a guy that is a starter level. And so those are things like that. So that's what's going out the door. Ravens are going to get some comp picks out of this. I have not heard anything yet about Deontay Johnson as well. Everybody was so concerned with the comp picks, Deontay Johnson. I haven't heard anything yet with Deontay. Let's move to the rest of the league. Some of this was a couple of days ago. T. Higgins franchise tag by Cincinnati. This is the second consecutive year they're going to franchise tag him. This is $26 million. That's a lot of money. And it also, too, they still haven't signed Chase yet to the long term, so they're spending a lot of money. Trey Smith has been franchise tagged by the Chefs. 1 year, $23.4 million. That's going to be the price of the tag. So they moved on from Joe Thuney. We'll tell you where he went, but that's no surprise. I don't think he's quite as good as Thuney, but he's kind of in that area and much younger. So I think going forward, that was kind of like, okay, we're going to have to pay Trey Smith now. We can't keep Thuney with all the money that they paid. Zach Braun got paid 3 years, $51 million, re-signed by the Eagles. Osa, I'll just stick with that, 4 years, $80 million for the Cowboys. I barely heard of him. Like, that's a lot of money for a D tackle. He was decent last year for the Cowboys, but man, that's a lot for a D tackle. That really he's not a Pro Bowl level guy. Josh Allen. So he wasn't even a free agent, but he did re-sign with Buffalo 3 years, 6 years rather, $330 million, $250 guaranteed. So getting that out of the way, smart move by Buffalo, who made a lot of smart moves. Getting that out the way right now so the price doesn't go up. You know, Josh is going to be a part of your future. No question about it. Don't even want to even think about doing this down the line, so that makes sense. So Myles Garrett, with all his talk about wanting to win and do all this stuff, becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL history. $40 million per year, 123 guaranteed. Wow, man. Garrett, I think is an outstanding player. I think he might be the best non-quarterback in the NFL. We could argue that point, but he might be the best non-quarterback. But this is a lot of money when you're not winning games. This is a lot of money for a guy when you're not really winning a lot of games. So that's that. I don't know, man. That's a lot of money for a guy. I would say he's deserving of the money. I'd like to see him with a team, but I think it was obvious they weren't going to trade him, so he went out and got, the highest contract he could possibly get. Daniel Jones, 1 year, $14 million with the Colts. The Colts said they want to bring in competition for Anthony Richardson. I can't think of two more similar guys. I think the two kind of the same. I think that's part of why as well, but they kind of missed on Darnold maybe or some other quarterbacks, but they did bring competition, and he is going to get I think he's going to get a chance to start. He may not wind up starting in there. I think that's why he went there to the Colts. DJ Reed actually signed with the Lions from the Jets, 3 years, $48 million. So I'm figuring DJ Reed was going to go. The Jets have to go ahead and pay Hot Sauce Gardner. So even though DJ Reed, I think this is one of the better solid free agents on the market there. Signed with the Lions, absolutely needs secondary help. So it's a good move for them. A guy who was with the Lions, Carlton Davis, took all that New England money. So the New England Patriots had a lot of money to spend. They go out and they sign Carlton Davis from the Lions, who was pretty good last year for him, and now he gets a chance to make some money, long-term extension. More to do. Didn't get everybody. Geno Smith the other day traded from the Oakland Raiders. I did it again. The Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. So Pete Carroll, I thought he was going to reach back and get somebody in free agency. I thought he was going to reach back for an old quarterback. I thought it was going to be Russell. It was Geno. Geno is going to get an extension with the Raiders. This is good for the Raiders. Say what you want about Geno, but it's a guy that's right away he's going to be familiar with the offense. He's going to be familiar right what Pete Carroll wants to do, and he is going to get a chance to go ahead and start right away in there, and it's a big upgrade. Oakland had nothing last year, maybe the worst team in the league at quarterback last year. So good for them. DK Metcalf for the Pittsburgh Steelers, traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 5 years, $150 million from the Seahawks. I don't think you can argue that he's a great receiver. The question is, can they get somebody to play quarterback? We're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers, probably, I think, is the best option. Russell Wilson is still out there, still looking at two teams, Kirk Cousins, Joe Flacco. Who's going to be throwing on the ball? But they obviously have a great receiver. The diva receiver thing also, too, Tomlin doesn't care about that. He handles players, I think, as well as any coach in the league. That's why people keep kind of don't understand that, but he handles players very well. Not in all cases is he successful, but he's not afraid of that at all. Deontay Adams, 2 years, $46 million with the Rams, $26 million guaranteed. Nice contract for him. I think that's a good place to go. I think he's going to get an odd opportunity. I think he's got something left in the tank, even though he's over 30. A lot of receivers fade over 30. I think he's the exception to the rule. He was very good last year under difficult circumstances. Couple more. Running back, Aaron Jones, 2 years, $20 million. Re-signing with the Vikings. Smart for him. I thought he was good last year with them. I think there was focal point. They're going to run the football a lot. They may have J.J. McCarty starting for them if Aaron's name is coming up there as well. So good for them. Najee Harris, formerly of Pittsburgh, signing with the Chargers. 9 years, $9.25 million. If you're a running back, you want to play in Los Angeles with the Chargers. You want a great Roman offense. So I think this is great for him as well. And the pass blocking, he's not going to have to do as much there. I think the way the offense is set up, I think it more fits his skill set. They'll rotate him more as well. They got rid of Gus Edwards. He'll definitely get all the carries he wants. Ryan Kelly signs with the Colts. From the Vikings, did I have the number? I think I put the number up. But he was a very good center too with the Colts. I'm surprised that the Colts let him get away, but the Vikings go ahead and sign him away. So a good move by the Vikings. We just talked about it. The run game as well. Few more. Hassan Reddick. I don't know why this guy isn't more sought out. He kind of has to keep taking these 1 year, 2 year deals, but wherever he goes, he plays well. $14 million, great move by the Bucs. Why not take a Hassan Reddick, get you 12 sacks? Bucs also re-signed Godwin. I'm a little surprised. I thought they were going to give the job to Jalen McMillan, but he goes ahead and re-signs with the Bucs. Not bad. Baker Mayfield, their offense is pretty good. I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. Drew Dalman, I think, was the best center available. Bears go ahead and get him. So they've upgraded that offensive line. 4 years, 3 years, $42 million. Best center on the market. B.J. Hill re-signs with the Bengals. They did have Sam Hubbard retire. I think probably he's their best interior lineman. Their defense wasn't great, but I'm a little surprised by that, but not bad. The biggest contract, I think, at the end was Josh Sweat. No surprise, $74 million, 4 years from the Eagles to the Cardinals. I think this is take the money. I don't know. They do need help at rush in. So definitely they have a need, and it's very lucrative for him. DeMarcus Lawrence, after spending his whole career with Dallas, signs with Seattle. Going to play with Mike McDonald, 3 years, $42 million. Milton Williams, again, took some of that Patriots money. 4 years, $104. Not bad, buddy. That's a lot of money that you're getting. Good for you as well. Sweat and Williams, I'm really curious to see how they do away from the Eagles. They both got paid a lot of money and didn't go to very good teams. And we'll see how that works. I'm not saying it won't work out, but they got paid a lot of premium there for guys that still need to prove themselves maybe a bit. This is a Hall of Famer, Khalil Mack, signing back with the Los Angeles Chargers. 1 year, $18 million. Dre Greenlaw signs with the Broncos. 3 years, $35 million from the 49ers. Going the same route, he's still going to be a teammate. Talano Hafanga is also going to the Broncos. So their outstanding outside linebacker and their safety is both going to the same place. So look, Sean Payton's strategy working. Take that huge cap hit last year. We're not going to have any free agents this year. Let's get them this year. And I think the strategy is paying off. Also to tear down definitely in San Fran. A lot of their guys are going elsewhere, traded Debo Samuel, etc. They're total tear down. Couple more. Chefs getting another 49er. Jalen Moore, 2 years, $30 million. So this is a guy who was a backup with a good PFF grade. He's going to go get every chance to start. Pencil him in as your starting left tackle in Kansas City. They absolutely have it. Their tackle play was terrible all last year, despite how far they got in the Super Bowl. Commanders get ex-Jets Javon Greenlaw, 3 years, $45 million contract as well. Commanders had a lot of cap space, and they needed help on defense. They lost Jonathan Allen. Jordan Lewis, another going to Jaguars. Cowboys, again, Cowboys on 3-year deal as well. Did I miss any? I think that's it. All right. So I think that's all we got as far as that goes. So the stuff is still moving right now. A lot of teams are still signing players. Free agency is not over. But this is the first 3 days here are the meat and potatoes. All the premium first-time first really good players are off the board. One other thing I did mention, I don't know where I put Sam Darnold. I do want to mention him. Did I miss the Sam Darnold? But Sam Darnold, I think that was the biggest signing. He signed with Seattle Seahawks as well. Over $100 million for Sam Darnold. So when they let go of Seattle, when they let go of Geno Smith and traded him, the word was right away that they had to deal with Sam Darnold. And that is an upgrade, guys. That is an upgrade. I know a lot of people like Geno Smith. A huge upgrade for the Raiders. And I think Sam Darnold is an upgrade for the Seahawks. Ravens. You're not going to see a lot of expensive free agent signings. They don't like to do it. They won't be doing it. I think you could see some help now at D-line, at cornerback. Some names to look at. Asante Samuel is still out there. Look at the defensive line free agents. Look at offensive line. Definitely, this is kind of the area where the Ravens like to go. So now a lot of the big money guys are gone. They like to take some guys and sign them in blue light. I kept my eye on Justin Reed. He signed with the Saints. So yeah, I thought they would have loved doing that. And also Darius Washington went ahead and signed. They went ahead and signed the tender with Darius Washington. So the Ravens will have right first refusal. He's a restricted free agent. Next year, they'll have to make the decision and have an unrestricted free agent as well. So typical Ravens, guys. Typical Ravens. One other thing, and I have not heard anything. We're waiting on Andrews. No word. So the deadline is passed. They do kind of wait sometimes, as long as any team. Haven't heard anything on Andrews. I'm thinking he's sticking around unless there's a trade or anything like that. I think maybe they're open to moving him at some point. But anything like that, Tucker, still a Raven as of right now. I don't think there's anything to do. I think they're going to cut him post-June 1st. And they don't have to make a decision right now anyway. If there is a kicker, you can kind of do that later. If you're going to do a free agency, or you're going to wait to the draft and do it anyway. So I think that's why there's nothing on Tucker. Apparently, they're under the cap compliant to get that. I think the Ronnie Stanley contract with a lot of void years helped that cause. All right. So there you go. NFL free agency there. So it's one of my favorite days on the calendar that's not even on the calendar, NFL free agency. So definitely check that out there as well. NFL free agency. And so we will go ahead and go over that. And so we will go ahead and get that squared away as well. One other thing, and we just found this out today, the Ravens are going to get a couple more comp picks as well. So the Ravens, what they like to do, this is the day they like to do it too. They lost more free agents than you actually sign, then the league gives you up to 4 comp picks. The Ravens are going to get all 4. They're going to get a 4th rounder for Patrick Queen signing. They're going to get a 5th rounder, and they're going to get 2 6th rounders. There it is. Javian Clowney signed. They're going to get a 5th round for that. And so Gus Edwards and Geno Stone are the other 2. So they are going to get compensation for whenever a team loses more free agents than it gains. Then what the league does, it gives you compensation picks. And the Ravens have been masterful forever doing this. Fans even know about the comp pick formula. They've been doing this for many years. Where if you lose 4 free agents or total free agents, then you can go ahead and get late draft picks. And EDC, Ozzie Newsome, John Harbaugh, they love these late draft picks and feed the beast so that you can get players cheap and you don't have to participate in free agency. Love doing it. And so that is definitely what they are getting. D-Hop. Yes, sir. D-Hop, I think, is going to be Lamar wanted him. I think that's I can't emphasize that enough. That Lamar wanted DeAndre Hopkins in Baltimore, and they have seen his work firsthand. He had a lot of good games against the Ravens. That's exactly why I think he is here. No question about it. All right, so talking NFL, let's go ahead and get on to the business. Let's get a little Maryland basketball in here. It is March, and we got the tournament, and the Terps are going to be the 11th ranked team in the NCAA right now. They're ranked number 11 in college basketball. So that is the best ranking they've had all year long. They're going to be the number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Their first game starts Friday at 6:30. They did win their last game in the regular season over the Northwestern, the senior day. Julian Reese, I thought that was a typical Julian Reese special on Sunday. It absolutely was. He was 11 for 13 at the line. He had 19 points. Look, Julian Reese, shout out to him, being probably their senior with the most contribution. He is an outstanding piece of meat and potatoes. I don't think he'll ever be in the NBA as a real contributor player, but he certainly is going to go down in Maryland history as one of the guys here. He was the first guy really to go and make it through NIL era as well. He was there. I think he was there with Mark Turgeon, there with Kevin Willard as well. So shout out to him getting that win, Northwestern getting that done, 74-61. So they're going to play in the Big Ten tournament. We do not know who it's going to be against. We're going to let the tournament play out. I think the tournament's going on starting tonight, and then they're going to go ahead and get a chance Friday to go ahead and play. They are going to be a high seed in the tournament. We're going to find out here on Sunday. So definitely we're going to find out what the Terps are going to be ranked in the tournament. Maryland, I think, might have the best starting 5 in all college basketball. Julian Reese, Derek Queen, Selton Miguel, Jacoby Gillespie, Rodney Rice. Fantastic. I don't think it gets any better than that as far as top 5. The concern that I have with the Terps is, can they get enough from their bench? Geronimo, DHS, didn't play nearly as much this year as they did last year. They're probably their top 2 contributors. You're going to get in the tournament, and you may get in foul trouble. You may have issues in the tournament with that. Can you contribute enough in the tournament to actually go ahead and get work done and be damaged in the tournament? So that's my biggest concern with the Terps in the tournament. But absolutely, they have the opportunity to go ahead and get stuff done in the NCAA tournament. So absolutely, let's bring the madness on. I cannot wait for the Terps to actually see how they do during March Madness as well. So definitely check that out as we get into the tournament. We definitely may do some reacts to the tournament games as well. I don't think we're going to do one for the Big Ten tournament, but we may do some reaction games, especially if Maryland gets a little further in the tournament, Sweet 16 and all that. We may go ahead and get that squared away. Let's talk about this. So the new $20 million man at ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, was confronted on the court by LeBron James during the third quarter of the game last week, where Stephen A. was there. Apparently, according to him, he was there just out celebrating his new contract with Ari Emanuel and Larry David. And LeBron goes up to him in the third quarter and said, "Don't blank my son. Don't blank with my son." He put it down on him. You could see it. There was a viral video where they both went face to face as well, and LeBron confronted him. It was apparently Stephen A. This is according to LeBron, that Stephen A. has been critical of his son play in the league here so far. Tangent a little bit, right? I have a daughter about the same age as Bronny James. A little bit. My daughter's a little bit younger than she is. And one thing we want to do as parents, me and my wife, she has a job, and there's this person on her job that was giving her a hard time, and we want to go down there as parents and be parents. Hey, we can't do that to my daughter. You can't do that stuff. And that's kind of what that was with LeBron. It's a struggle, and we're kind of going through this, like I just said, where that child is not a child anymore. That child, in our case, is a young lady. That child now, in his case, is a young man. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, is a grown man, and he's in the NBA. And I don't think Stephen A. has been that critical of him, but it's fair to criticize him even if he was. He's in the league now. He's an adult. He's not – LeBron's got no business going up to a reporter and saying and mouthing off what he said. And I know people don't like Stephen A. I get a lot of negative comments when I defend Stephen A. and some of the stuff he says at times because he can be obnoxious. I mean, obviously. But I think like to go up to a reporter and advocate is not doing that. I don't even think that was completely the case. As well, I don't think he's even been that critical of Stephen A. But that's not right, LeBron. You can't go up there, and your son is an adult. You can't go out there and say things about reporters, confronting reporters. I'm sure for Stephen A., it's just another day. This happens to reporters, content creators all the time. I'm sure right now, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure, I'll use this for example. If Daniel Falele was to watch this podcast, I know he doesn't watch it because he would be mad. Like, he wouldn't like a lot of things I've said. That's just part of the game. So that one was out in public. They're both more famous than most players in the league. He's the most famous guy, the top guy at ESPN. So I think this was more of a viral. This went more viral, but this type of thing happens a lot. That's not unusual that this type of thing happens a lot. But it is unfortunate that we have this type of thing happen to players. And LeBron, you can't be doing that. I'll just leave it right there. But it's not going to do you any good to be out here attacking people on behalf of your son. Your son has got to stand on his own. And it's tough. And I'm going through the same thing. It's tough as a parent to want to do that. You want to be out here, protect your daughter, and in my case, my daughter. His case, his son. But they're adults, and you can't be out here attacking reporters for that for things that you didn't like that they said that may or may not be true. All right. So we went ahead and did talk about that as well. I would say one more thing. Lakers, they are on a roll here. So LeBron is actually going to be out here for the next couple of weeks. LeBron is going to miss some time. I think he's going to miss, like they said, 1 to 2 weeks. That doesn't bother me at all as a Laker fan. LeBron having an injury here, he's 40 years old. He plays a lot of minutes. I mean, people keep telling me about load management, but this guy plays more minutes than anybody else in the league. So that's kind of wild. So shout out to LeBron getting that done as well. But yeah, just don't confront reporters, man. It's not going to do you any good. All right. So let's go ahead and shift to baseball here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's talk about pitching. And I'm going to talk a little bit about pitching here. Let's do our baseball. Put me in cold. I'm ready to play. All right. So we're talking about starting pitcher. I'm going to name the top 10 starting pitchers in MLB. But let me tell you something right now. The Tommy John thing is way out of hand. This is the second straight year I've had to move somebody off the list because of Tommy John surgery that's being done. It's crazy. Look, any of these rock throwers, we have to get back to having pitchers that actually know how to pitch, leave something in the tank, stay ready. I mean, I think, and I'm going to get to Grayson too, because I think he's going to be going for Tommy John at some point. You already don't have Bradish for Tommy John. You got Spencer Strider with Tommy John. You got Shohei Ohtani has had 2 Tommy John. Like, come on. Let's do something, man. This is crazy. I mean, I watched baseball all my life. And look, baseball, even more than football, was the first sport I watched 40 long time ago, because Baltimore had a team. We didn't have a football team. Certainly if you're my age. Like, the Tommy John is crazy. How many guys? Not on this list. Spencer Strider, Tommy John. You know, he still isn't back yet. Felix Batista, you know, just I don't. It's crazy. It's not just starters either. It's relievers too. So we gotta do something. We gotta do something about this. I almost hate to even bring that up right before that, because I feel like I don't want to diminish this, because these are guys who are outstanding in their own right, that will be on the mound as far as we know here at the start. But Garrett Cole was on here and took him off because of Tommy John. Tommy John is just way out of hand in Major League Baseball. All right, so let's get to it. Top 10 starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. Chris Sale. Boy, the Red Sox have got to be just brokenhearted from what they've seen with Chris Sale. Here's another guy, injury issues. Tommy John, a lot of stuff. Chris Sale. Chris Sale was fantastic last year, though. Chris Sale is back to being what we know him as before. Had so many years subpar, no wins, 22, 6 wins, 23. Starting out as an ace, he had his tremendous production last year, 18-3, 238. He is 35 years old. He is on a good team, so I do worry about that a little bit as far as putting him higher than where he is. But I think Sale, having him there, I'm definitely happy with that. Chris Sale, having him at 10. Number 9, Aaron Nola. Look, the reason why the Phillies are so good is they've had 2 solid, very solid, healthy starting pitchers. Aaron Nola, not quite as good last year. ERA about 3.57, 14 wins. But Nola has been as steady as they come the last like 3-4 years. Definitely he deserves to be in the top 10. He's won 17 games before. Good for a long time. So Nola, ERA under 4, just got to keep him healthy on a very good Phillies team. I definitely have him in the top 10. Some people do disagree, but I love Nola. I think he's fantastic. He's at number 9. Number 8, Logan Webb for the Giants. I think he's the best player on the Giants, period, anywhere. 13-10 last year, 3.47 ERA. Logan Webb, I think, is as steady as they come. Not this guy who has, 110-mile-an-hour fastball or anything like that. Kind of what we're talking about. One of these guys knows how to pitch, knows how to pitch as well. Very much throwback to the old days. Ground ball, strong changeup. I definitely do like Logan Webb. There, he's number 8. Webb, I think, is as strong as I think, because he doesn't throw super hard. I think he's less talked about. That's why I think like he's not as revered as he should be, considering all the success that he's had. But I got Logan Webb, number 8. Number 7, Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros. Framber Valdez last year, a lot of people, I hear more people say that he's not an ace. I really don't understand that. The stats are there. I mean, he was 15-7 last year. He had 2.91 ERA. ERA's been under 3, has been under 3.5. I think like 4 straight years now. Doesn't give up a lot of earned runs. Throws really hard. I think he doesn't always look the part. is if you were to like do a movie and have an ace, he was more as a closer, but the sinker is very good. About 91, throws his curveball. I like Framber Valdez. I think probably it's definitely a sign though for the Astros if they move him that they are really going into rebuild mode and changing their team. Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. I think he's again kind of like the other Logan on the list, Logan Webb. I think underrated. He doesn't win as many games. I think you look at his quality starts. I am super duper impressed with how many quality starts that he consistently gets. He was 9-12 last year, ERA 3.23. I think that was more. He just didn't get the run support that he did. Before that, 13-6, 13-7, ERA under 3. I love Logan Gilbert. I think Logan Gilbert is going to be solid for many, many years as well. I think, too, if the Mariners can be a better team, I'm not sure they are. I think Gilbert can really do some damage. Throws hard. I mean, we know that. Again, you worry about him having Tommy John type surgery as well. Number 5, Cole Ragans of the Kansas City Royals. I kind of struggled where to put him a little bit because I think as good as he was last year, it's still a bit of a projection with him. But he's only 20. He's 27 years. People talk about him like he's 22 or 23. He's 27. So I do think he is going to get better and better, though. I definitely going to put that. But he was. I thought he was their best pitcher last year, along with Seth Lugo for the Royals last year. He is in a pitcher's park, so that helps. I think if you pitch in Kansas City, then you do better than you do if you do in New York or if you're in Boston or something like that. But his changeup is great. He can throw. He's not. I wouldn't call him a heater all the time, but definitely mixes his pitches very well. Got a little bit of the moves in him, I think. I see a little bit of Mike Mussina. He has it when he needs it, but he doesn't kill you all the time with the heat. A good guy to mix in pitches. Now we're to the elite. Now, this group here, if you're going to say one of these guys is number 1, I don't have any beef with that. Zach Wheeler, I think like that. Aaron Nola, I think, would be a number 1 pitcher, I think, on any other team without a Zach Wheeler or on this list. Zach Wheeler was terrific last year. 2.57 ERA, 16-7 last year. Wheeler, I think, has outstanding command of his pitches. Outstanding. Wheeler actually, again, the mix of the power, the mix of the power, and the mix of the knowing how to pitch. Sweeper to the arsenal. I think he's fantastic. He is 35 now, which is a bit of a concern. That's the only thing with that. But Wheeler, I think, is fantastic. I think definitely I have him at 4. Yes, I have him in an Orioles uniform anyway. Corbin Burns for the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks are going to be really good. I think this is a much bigger pickup for the Diamondbacks than what people realize. Corbin Burns, I think, is fantastic. Look, Oral fans, we saw it all last year with Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns is an ace. There's no question about it. He throws hard. He knows how to pitch. He pitches efficiently. He goes deep in games. I think some people, if you're going to nitpick, I think his fastball ticked down a little bit from when he was younger, but I'm not worried about that at all. ERA less than 3 last year. Highest ERA he's had in several years was 2023, where he was at 3.39. Less than 3. ERA under 3. 4 out of the last 5 years. 5 out of the last 7. He can pitch. Burns is 3. on the list. Great pickup for the Diamondback. Big loss for the Orioles. Potential. If you're going to have guys ahead of Corbin Burns, why not have Paul Skeens, who I think might be the new Roger Clemens. Every time I see him, there's no such thing as you watch a game without Skeens just blowing everybody away. He was 11-3 last year. ERA 1.96. Insane. Like for a guy who was just pitching in the College World Series not that long ago. So I don't think there's any doubt with Skeens. He is only 22 years old. I think the only thing let's see. I don't think he's good. The only thing is I'm concerned is obviously with a lot of these pitchers, the Tommy John thing. But how can he do in a situation where he doesn't have his great stuff all the time? Because that's never been the case here so far. But I think Burns, is fantastic. Can they keep him in Pittsburgh? That's the thing. Can you keep a guy that's this talented in Pittsburgh? But number one, I still have him at 2 because number one is Tarek Subel of the Detroit Tigers. Look, there's a lot to like about Subel. Subel was 18-4 last year, 2.39 ERA. I don't think this guy's a can't miss. 28 years old. I think his is a little bit out of nowhere a bit. Like he was so good last year, but his fastball is in the mid-90s, throws very, very hard, throws a lot of heat, has a couple pitches. He's got a good changeup. I like his changeup. He's very good against right-handers, but he was absolutely deserving be on the list. Number one, Tarek Subel. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. There you go. Tarek Subel, number one pitcher in all of baseball. So very concerned about the Tommy John thing. Just very concerned about the Tommy John thing. It's too bad that we don't get to see pitchers pitch more. I don't know what we do about it though. I really wish I did. You see guys, they can't even go even a Corbin Burns, which you would consider a workhorse. Man, how many times did he even go into the 9th inning? Like maybe once or twice during the course of the year. So we'll see about that as well this season. Okay. One more segment. The Orioles spring training report. No good reason. You might as well play that one the way it's been because the injuries are just crazy right now for the Orioles. I mean, you would think there is a black cat or something right now. So let's start with Grayson. March 9th, he was diagnosed with elbow inflammation and got a cortisone shot per Brandon Hyde. Shut down for 7-10 days before a throwing program. He's going to be placed on the IL. That's per Andy Koska of Baltimore. They're not going to have Grayson at the start. I think they're going to have Tommy John for him. This is pretty much the same playbook we saw with Kyle Bradish last year. All of a sudden, his velocity was way down. Then, he's got a cortisone shot. He needs to be looked at. We're going to see about it. And then we're going to do Tommy John surgery. And I think this is the route we're going to have. I think you are going to absolutely have to have him. You're going to have him have Tommy John. This is probably the biggest concern everybody kept telling me about a Felix Bautista. I'll get to Felix Bautista. This is the biggest concern I had about Grayson Rodriguez because he has never pitched a full season healthy. He's never done it. So let's go ahead and see if we can get him back as well for this. Number 2. Andrew Kittredge on March 8th had a left knee hopefully I can say it right, Debreckman. I don't think it's right. He told reporters, including Rockabako at MassSports.com, the procedure was unsuccessful. So they are basically preparing themselves for months without Andrew Kittredge. So they're definitely not going to have him at all, I think, until the break. I don't think they do have a with Kittredge, they do have a contract for 1 year for $10 million with him. This is just a tough break. I mean, he was doing well in camp. And again, this is, again, the injuries of these pitchers. It's just so disheartening to see all the time where these guys are consistently getting hurt in the lineup. So definitely, I don't think there is the conjecture is he's going to be weeks, and then some people saying it's going to be months. I don't think there's a confusion there. If they're saying it's months, it's months. So it's definitely that if they go ahead and do that, I don't think you're going to see him before the break. So some people are saying it's weeks, months. They said months. I think that's probably the way that's definitely going to go as well. Orioles must adjust their rotation in the short term because you're not going to have Rodriguez without Rodriguez. So this is the way it shapes up now. Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton, Timmy Sugano, Kramer have 4 spots. Suarez and Povich may take the foul spot ahead of Povich. Right now, I would say it's Suarez ahead of Povich as of now. I think Povich has looked decent during the spring. Interesting to see if he gets a spot. I think at least early in the year, you don't often use a 5th starter always in April. They feel comfortable with Suarez. Suarez has been good, but we will see. Certainly, I think they're going to be also looking for pitchers. We'll get to that as well. Now, in light of that, Morton and Sagano have pitched 3 games without allowing a run. He's pitched 6 scoreless innings. 5K, 1 walk. Sagano, 7 shutout innings, 7 Ks, 2 walks, dominating versus the Twins. I think Sagano's looked really good during the spring. This is, again, I keep saying it about Japanese pitchers. Why do they do well early? There's no book on him. Like, he's got great stuff. He knows how to pitch. He's been around in Japan pitching for a long time, and he is a guy that no one knows yet. So definitely. Morton has been solid as well. Good at taking the ramp up. These 2 guys are okay. They're not studs. I know we all want some pitchers that do a little better, but these guys are okay. I think in a good offense, you can get some decent production out of your pitching here. Luis Gonzalez and Cade Stroud were assigned to minor league camp. Reassigned Jordan Adams, Raul Lantra, David Benos, Franklin Berrios, Dylan Coleman, Rafael Marquez, Tevin Vavra is an infielder. Tevin Vavra is not a pitcher. He's an infielder. Didn't have enough room on that graphic there. No surprise any of those guys were sent down to minor league camp. Vavra, I think he's probably the main one we'll see at some point during the year as well. Stroud, I think, definitely is going to be at Norfolk as well. So we're whittling it down really a little bit. I think next week we're going to go do our 26-man prediction video as well. I'm almost done. 26-man prediction video. We'll go ahead and go over that as well. So Orioles exploring roster additions, keeping tabs on Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, among others. I think they're looking at it. I think the Orioles are absolutely looking at Kyle Gibson and Lynn. Gibson, I think, makes all the sense in the world. He's already been here. They're very familiar with him. He was actually decent when he was here. So I definitely think that's a guy they're absolutely going to look at as well. Brian Baker, righty, stands as one of the most interesting out-of-options players as well. You're on camera. As one of the most interesting out-of-options players in spring training. Baker may make the team simply because they can't send him down. I think Baker has done nothing wrong anyway. I think definitely that's not a bad idea to have him there as well on your team as it is. And Felix Batista is looking better in camp here. Let's get that graphic up there. Felix Batista had more velocity in his last spring training game. So Batista was about at 100 miles an hour in his last game. So there's a question, though. I mean, he's been there's a question whether they're going to start him at the beginning of the year. This shouldn't be. I think I've said it every week. This shouldn't be a question at this point. It's been 16 months since he's had surgery, but he has pitched well, and I think they're a little less worried about it as well. But it is a possibility they still may slow walk him. Go ahead and do that. I don't know if he's even going to be the closer out the gate, so we'll see about that. Orioles 8-9 in spring training as well, so not as well as far as the rate, not as well in spring training as well this year. Had to overcome a lot. They have a lot of injuries. Gunnar Henderson, I don't think you're going to have him at the start. I didn't have any particular news on Gunnar because he really hasn't played in spring training games a lot here as well. So I think also with Gunnar, you're probably going to start the season with him on the injured list. We'll see. Let's get it going. Thank you very much for watching the Ravori Sports Podcast. Thank you, all of you, for joining us here. You have a great rest of your day. Enjoy all the games.